Hello, and welcome to a special edition of the Silver Bulletin presented by Lantern TV. April 11th was set to be the day of the spring game for the Ohio State Buckeyes. However, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the spring game, along with all other spring athletics at Ohio State, were suspended. This edition of the Silver Bulletin instead will serve as a retrospective look back to the 2019 football season while we all wait for life to return to normalcy. We start things off with some highlights from Ohio State's 73-14 victory over Maryland. Quarterback Justin Fields shined in this game with 3 passing touchdowns and 1 rushing touchdown. In just his first season at Ohio State, Fields had a fantastic season, completing 67.2% of his passes for 3,273 yards, along with 41 passing touchdowns and 10 rushing touchdowns. His performance was good enough to get him 3rd place in Heisman voting. Now we move to plays from Ohio State's 56-21 victory over Rutgers. In just his first season as head coach, Ryan Day led Ohio State to an undefeated 13-0 regular season, complete with wins over teams like Wisconsin, Penn State, Michigan, and Wisconsin again in the Big Ten Championship. A major contributor to success for the Buckeyes was senior wide receiver KJ Hill. Hill became the all-time receptions leader in Ohio State history with 201 after catching 57 passes for 636 yards and 10 touchdowns in 2019. Moving on, here are plays from Ohio State's 28-17 win over Penn State featuring more highlights from Fields and Hill. On the defensive side of the game, Chase Young was the man for Ohio State. He had a historic season for the Buckeyes, breaking the single-season sack record for Ohio State with 16.5, with 3 of them coming against Penn State. His play propelled the defense forward and was good enough to finish 4th in Heisman voting. Another major weapon for Fields to use in the receiving corps was sophomore wide receiver Chris Olave, who had a breakout season as the leading receiver for the Buckeyes, catching 48 passes for 840 yards and 12 touchdowns. In addition, Olave also made his presence known on special teams with a punt block back early in the season against Indiana. Next, we head to Ohio State's 56-27 victory over Michigan in another edition of the game. This game featured a huge performance from Ohio State star junior running back J.K. Dobbins. Dobbins had his best game of the 2019 season, rushing for 211 yards and 4 touchdowns. Overall in the season, Dobbins was one of the best running backs in the country as he rushed for 2,003 yards on 301 attempts and 21 touchdowns, alongside with catching 23 passes for 247 yards and 2 touchdowns. His play was good enough to finish 6th in Heisman voting overall, and he was named a first-team All-American. Another player in Ohio State's receiving corps that had a strong season was freshman wide receiver Garrett Wilson. Wilson emerged as one of the best receivers for the Buckeyes as the season went on. He caught 30 passes for 432 yards and 5 touchdowns, including this pass from Justin Fields late in the 3rd quarter against Michigan, right after Fields had gone down with a knee injury. The last win for Ohio State in 2019 came against the Wisconsin Badgers in the Big Ten Championship. Ohio State initially struggled that game and went into halftime down 21-7, but the Buckeyes rallied in the second half, scoring 24 unanswered points to win 34-21 and claimed their 3rd straight Big Ten title. This one-handed catch by sophomore tight end Jeremy Ruckert was crucial in cutting the Badgers' lead to 7, and a couple drives later, a touchdown catch from KJ Hill gave the Buckeyes a 24-21 lead that was never relinquished. Ohio State went on to make it to the college football playoffs as the number 2 seed and faced off against the Clemson Tigers in the Fiesta Bowl. It was a hard-fought game between both teams, but in the end, Ohio State lost 29-23 in a heartbreaker and finished the 2019 season with a 13-1 overall record. I'm Brian Nelson, and thank you very much for watching Lantern TV.